For years, we've been hearing this promise about building software without code. It's mostly been just that, a promise. But what if that's finally about to change? We're looking at a fundamental shift, and it's happening a lot faster than you might think.
You've heard it a million times, right? No code. It was supposed to be this simple, elegant way for anyone to build applications. The problem is, the industry pretty much stopped halfway.
And what do we get instead? Well, we got this. A graveyard of broken prototypes. Demos that looked fantastic in a pitch deck, but were completely useless in production. They were just toys, really, locked inside a browser, never meant for the real world.
Then, right in the middle of all that noise, a platform called Rocket just quietly showed up, and it started solving the actual problem everyone else seemed to be missing: deployment.
So let's be clear. This is not just another prototyping tool. The whole category is shifted. We're talking about an AI production studio. It's designed to act like you have an entire product team living right inside your browser.
At its heart is this concept they call vibe solutioning. See, instead of describing a UI, add a blue button, you describe business logic. You say something like, create a subscription model with 3 tiers, and the system architects the entire backend, the authentication, and the payment flows all in real time.
And that's the crucial difference. This is full-stack execution, not just scaffolding some code. It's a production studio, not a prototyping tool. And maybe most importantly, it preserves the intent of your idea, not just the raw syntax.
Okay, so let's dig into the architecture and see how this thing actually works, because this is what really separates it from every other AI builder out there.
And maybe the single most important thing to understand is this: it is not a walled garden. That fear of vendor lock-in, that's been the main reason developers have always rejected these kinds of tools. Rocket seems to address that head-on.
What's really fascinating is how it's all put together. User profiles, they're managed by Supabase. Payments, handled by Stripe. The core AI logic can be run on OpenAI, Claude, or Gemini. It just integrates with the exact production-grade services that real companies are already using.
And you interact with it just by talking to it. You can literally type add Stripe payments, and it doesn't just mock up a button. No, it wires the actual payment flow directly into your application using structured commands that get the job done.
So, all of this leads to the final, critical piece of the puzzle for any serious developer, which is escaping the sandbox. What happens to your work after you build it? Is it stuck?
Well, this is the guarantee. Every single line of code it generates is yours. You can export the whole thing to GitHub, you can self-host it, you can do whatever you want with it. It even supports modern frameworks like Next.js and TypeScript, so it just plugs right into an existing startup stack. That right there? That's the ultimate trust signal.
And this workflow is just kind of wild. You describe an idea in a single sentence, say, an AI productivity app. Then you deploy it to Netlify with just one click. And if you want a mobile version, it'll generate a Flutter APK that you can install directly on your phone. It's just done.
So, what's the final verdict here? What does all this actually mean for the industry?
First off, just look at the adoption. Over 400,000 creators are already using this platform, and most of them aren't professional developers. They're founders and designers who are testing ideas at a scale that was basically impossible before.
And that user base is spread out across 180 countries, which tells you this isn't some niche tool for a specific market. This is a global shift in how software is being imagined and created. So far, those users have generated over 500,000 applications. Now, why does that number matter? Because every single one of those projects refines the AI. It teaches it the patterns and the language of how humans actually ask for software. The system is literally learning creation itself.
But let's be totally honest. All these impressive numbers, all these cool features, they're completely irrelevant if the final product is slow, bloated, and unusable. And that is the final objection that every single developer is thinking right now.
And this is the answer. The generated React and Flutter code is lean. You get high lighthouse scores right out of the box, and the builds deploy without all that typical bloat you see from other code generators. This is what's finally making developers take it seriously. So we end on this question. Development is finally starting to move at the speed of thought. And that brings us to the real implication here. Why does it suddenly feel like an individual creator has the same developmental firepower as an entire company? That is the shift we're all witnessing.